Go ahead, the next time you get in your car, take a good long look at your dashboard. I guarantee you there's a number staring back at you that makes absolutely zero sense. We're about to pull back the curtain on that number and expose the real reason your car is built to go faster than you could ever legally drive.
Seriously, let's just get right into it because this is a lie you see every single day. Doesn't matter if it's a family minivan or a little hatchback. Your car comes standard with a feature that practically begs you to break the law in a very, very big way. So why?
You see this number, right? Or something just like it, 160 miles per hour. A speed so ridiculously high, so profoundly dangerous, and so illegal that having it on your dashboard is just, well, it's nuts.
Now, let's put this in perspective. The absolute fastest you are legally allowed to drive anywhere in the United States is 85 miles per hour, and that's just on one single lonely highway in Texas. Everywhere else, it's way less. Going 160 isn't just a speeding ticket, my friend. That's felony territory. That's jail time. And yet the car you take to pick up milk is designed to do it.
So you have to ask, what's the official story? Well, if you ask anyone in the auto industry, they'll give you a very calm, very technical, and let's be honest, a very boring explanation. They call it the mechanical alibi. The argument goes something like this. An engine designed to max out at, say, 80 miles an hour would be screaming its head off just to merge onto the highway. It would constantly be under stress, it'd guzzle gas, and it would wear out in no time. But if that same car is capable of 160, then cruising along at 70 is nothing. The engine's barely awake, it's efficient, it's quiet, it's healthy, it's a neat, tidy little excuse. But that neat, tidy excuse, well, it's about 10% of the story. The real reason your dashboard looks like it was ripped out of a race car has almost nothing to do with engineering and everything to do with psychology. Your psychology. And see, to get to the truth, you have to realize what you're actually buying when you buy a car. You think you're buying transportation? Think again. You're buying a product designed from the ground up to sell you a feeling. I mean, let's be real. If they were just selling you a way to get to work, we'd all be driving identical, super efficient, gray boxes. But that's not what's happening, is it? No, they are selling the feeling of power, the illusion of freedom, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of dominance. And that's the key. You're not buying the ability to actually drive 160 miles per hour. You're buying the potential. You're buying that little shot of dopamine you get every time you glance down and see that number, knowing you've got this incredible untapped power under your foot. It's a subconscious trigger for status, for dominance, for freedom, even when you're stuck going 10 miles an hour in rush hour traffic. This whole thing really took off back in the 60s during the horsepower wars, when speed became the #1 way to sell a car. Things got so out of hand by the 80s that European politicians started making noise about regulations. So, in a brilliant PR move, the German carmakers got together and made a gentleman's agreement to electronically limit their cars to 155 miles per hour. They sold it as a safety feature, but really, it just made their cars seem even more dangerously powerful. And that brings us to the darkest, most cynical part of this whole story. This unspoken but incredibly profitable partnership between the companies that build the cars and the institutions that write our laws. I mean, think about it. The technology has existed for decades. Your car's computer knows exactly how fast you're going. With GPS, it can know the exact speed limit of the road you're on. It would take a few simple lines of code to physically prevent a car from ever speeding. So with all the talk about speed kills, why has no government anywhere ever made this a requirement? Well, the answer, as it almost always is money. Every year in the United States alone, police officers write over 41 million speeding tickets. And those 41 million tickets generate more than $6 billion in revenue. That's $6 billion with a B. And that's before you even factor in the insurance companies who get to jack up your rates for years after just one little ticket. There is simply too much money to be made for the system to ever be fixed. So what we have is this perfect self-sustaining system. Automakers sell us these overpowered machines that tap into our most basic desires. We, being human, inevitably use a tiny fraction of that power. And then governments and insurance companies step in to profit by punishing us for doing the very thing the machine was built to do. Let's be perfectly clear about this. This is not an accident. It's not a flaw in the system. The system is working exactly as it's supposed to. It is fundamentally designed, from top to bottom, to set you up to fail. And if you were hoping that the big switch to electric cars would change any of this, well, I've got some bad news. In fact, the EV revolution just makes the whole deception even more obvious. Remember that whole excuse about engine health and efficient gearing for highway cruising? With electric vehicles, that entire argument is gone. Poof, the mechanical facade has been completely stripped away. See, an electric motor is just as happy and efficient at low speeds as it is at high speeds. It doesn't need a complicated transmission. The original, plausible engineering excuse is now completely and utterly obsolete. So what did the industry do with this new technology? Did they build more sensible cars? Of course not. They doubled down. They're selling us 1,000-horsepower, silent-running family sedans that accelerate faster than the force of gravity. The lie hasn't just continued, it's gotten bigger. Which brings us right back to where we started. After all this, the psychology, the history, the cynical economics, what is that dial on your dashboard really for?
It's not a scientific instrument. It's not there to help you obey the law. It's a billboard, a psychological billboard right in front of your face, constantly advertising the power you bought, the status you feel, and the fantasy of freedom you own, even if you can never, ever use it.
So the next time you slide into the driver's seat, look down at that number and ask yourself a simple question. Is that thing a tool or is it a billboard?